Welcome everyone to this second webinar within the project StoryRegions, an Erasmus Plus project that we are running with 5 different countries. My name is Anders Karlsson and I'm the project leader of this project StoryRegions. I work at Region Västerbotten in the northern part of Sweden, and together with regions in Belgium, Italy, Germany and Poland, we together are trying to develop methods of how to use storytelling in different aspects. We are trying to use storytelling as a tool in lifelong learning to achieve different things, to achieve community development, to increase social inclusion, especially among marginalized groups, and also to strengthen individual identity of individuals. So it's in different levels. And what we have done so far in the project is try to develop methods of how we can use storytelling in regions, connecting groups, connecting people, organizations and NGOs, etc., to work together with storytelling to achieve these things. And to get one step further, we also are using these methods in pilots. And today we're going to hear about 4 different pilots that we have already made in this project. And I think we can start with an example from Belgium. So Guy, please, you can present one of your pilots.
Okay. So I'm going to share a screen first. Find out, yes. Okay, I hope that everybody is able to see the screen as it is now. So my name is Guy Tilkin. I work in the Landcommanderij Aldenbiezen in Belgium, Flanders, and we have developed 2 pilots, and I will report on one of the 2 pilots that we have done in this country. And so it's a cooperation project with an organization, what you would call the public welfare organization, an adult education, non-formal adult education organization, and a number of secondary schools, plus Aldenbiezen. And we have set up a pilot in the city of Tongeren. And that pilot deals, and you can see it on the screen, with socially vulnerable parents with a background of deprivation or social vulnerability. So we're talking about parents that are in most cases in financial problems, that may be foreign people with a foreign language background. Some of them are single mothers. They have fewer opportunities than other parents and so on. So that's the group that we were working with in this pilot. And all these parents, because we call them parents, have children at school, in this case, secondary schools. And so we gathered a number of these parents. They volunteered, of course. And the question was, or the project was about their story and how they could tell their story, and we wanted to do something with the results. And as you can see, the goals, for instance, are to introduce storytelling as an instrument to help surface the thoughts and feelings of vulnerable parents and help them connect with society. And that was the aim of this project. So to use storytelling with these parents in order to get their stories. And with their stories, first of all, we wanted to help them so that they would see we're not alone, and that they would be able to express themselves and share their feelings with people that were in the same conditions and the same circumstances as they were, and also to help them talk about themselves and about their children and about the consequences of being poor and have lesser opportunities at school for themselves as parents and for their children as youngsters at school. So that was the aim. We envisaged 2 videos as end product. because we as project leaders, we were interested in a video on how to see how storytelling as a technique could be used in these circumstances and with these target groups. That was one thing. And the second video was commissioned by the adult education organization Vorming Plus, because they wanted to use the results of these stories, and they wanted to use the video to tour with the video and show it to other parent organizations or parent associations in other schools, so that they could learn about what it is for these people to be poor, to have few opportunities, being a parent, a poor parent in a school, and being a poor child or a child from poor circumstances and family stances and vulnerable parents. So how it is, and that was the aim of their video. So we invited a storyteller, Rien van Meensel from Leuven, to do the job. And as you can see here on the screen, she set up 7 sessions of half a day to work with these people. We're talking Wednesday mornings, because in my country, Wednesday afternoon, there is no school. So the parents who came to the session on Wednesday morning, at lunchtime, they could take their children back home, so that was easier for them. And here you see the topics of the session. So it's about storytelling, about triggering those parents to tell their stories, and so in order to share it around the table and to get the products done as well. And as you can see, so the first session dealt with getting to know each other, and the first exercise was the story of my name. Everybody has a name, of course. Who gave you your name? Usually your parents. What does it mean, my name? What does it mean to me, etc. So it's an easy topic to talk about. In the circumstances here, I'm going to tell this story in plenary, but usually we work in pairs or in trios to lower the threshold, to build up trust, etc. So the story of my name was the first topic. My family, telling stories or telling about the history of my family was the second topic. And then they could start telling about their children. Of course, they gave a name to their children, what's the history of their name, and then in order to, as a kind of metaphor, the story of an animal they like. Second session, we started with the topic of the school. So, and then first it dealt with the youth of the parents, so their situation at school when they were young. And here you see, tell us about your experiences in primary school. Tell us about the interest of your parents for your life at school. Were your parents interested? Did they work with you? Did they share, did they help you with your homework? That kind of stuff. And how did you see your future as a child? How did you see your future as an adult when you were a child? So that's the session 2. Then session 3 dealt with daily life, so that they could tell stories about life at home with their children. And so how does an ordinary morning look like? So the rush, the morning rush and the evening rush, when children had to go get out of bed, had to go to school, etc. And the same thing in the evening. So they could tell about their family life, and the others, everybody could learn about the family life of the participants. Then the fourth one, the story of your children at school. How is their life at school? And then how would you have liked it to be? So in a way, the schools, how do you think that the school should be for your children? Session 5 dealt with parent meetings and school structures. Were these parents able to deal with the structure? Think of parent meetings. Did they go to parent meetings or not? Did they understand how it worked? Did you read the school rules? How is it to cope with the instructions and so on? And what are your dreams and hopes for your children? And then the last session was the ideal school. So they could work together with all the parents around the table, create the ideal school together, and that was in a way the final topic for these parents. And then everybody got a collection of his stories on paper, and a surprising title for the life story, because we had 2 people in the group who were taking notes, and so they got a kind of small report of their contribution and their evolution also throughout the sessions. And then in the end there was the movie, the video that was taken by an organization. And so as a result we have 2 movies. They were the participants were very happy with the outcome of the project, and we are also quite happy with the products. So that's the pilot that we have been, one of the 2 pilots that we have been running here in this country. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Guy. Interesting to see it very structured, I think, the sessions and the building up of the sessions. And I think we will come back to this. It's also a sort of method or a technique, you can say, to use these different steps. Do you have any questions, anyone, to Guy?
Yes, I was wondering how the group developed over these 7 sessions, whether they have realized that they share the same fate and they have maybe organized in a way. Will they keep on meeting? Have you done some kind of evaluation in how far that has changed their perspective on their own lives or anything in that direction?
The group evolved, that's for sure. Because during the first 2 sessions, they really need to use some techniques to trigger the people to talk and to share the stories and so on. And at some point, I think from session 3 on, that wasn't necessary anymore. So they really started telling stories, and so there was really trust within the group. But I don't think they will, as far as I know, they don't have plans to meet again, because they were from different backgrounds, even different nationality. They were, of course, happy to find out that they were not alone in the situation they were in. But at this moment, I can't say that there was a sustainable structure created for these parents. What I can say is that the social welfare organization was very enthusiastic about the technique, and they will go on using the technique, but probably with other target groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think then we will go over to you, Julia, and listen to Germany. And I will just say that we should try to keep this webinar not too long, so it's good if we can keep the presentations a little bit tight.
Okay. Yes, my name is Julia from Göttingen in Germany, and we're also partners in this project. And our pilot project is connecting to an initiative that already existed before StoryRegions started. It is was interesting to find out when I started researching the activities in this region that there already is a telling region, or a region of telling, which is a network of so-called storytelling cafes. Let me show you something. That is has come out of an initiative of an association that we have here in Göttingen. Just one moment. Let me show you the website. Where is it? Oops. So now I don't get the navigation. Here we are. So I'm collaborating mainly with an association that is called Freie Altenarbeit, freely translated with free work for seniors, that evolved, that was founded in the 80s and evolved around a innovative housing project for elderly people in this villa that you see here on the picture. And soon enough, they came to realize that housing is not everything, but they also want to further develop, to learn, to get into intergenerational dialogue, and that's how they started the concept of storytelling cafes, first in this place here in Göttingen, already in the early 90s, with many different topics of interest, but also with like a political focus on, in some regards, in terms of how does society develop, what about demographic change, and of course many topics that are related to becoming older. And so there was a great impact, a very positive recognition of these storytelling cafes. And so at one point they started to train moderators for storytelling cafes. And there was also very high interest in that, and many people took part in this training and then started their own little storytelling cafes in their own villages or the places where they would live. And here you now see a map of this region, of the telling region, the network of storytelling cafes that already exists in this kind of formal way of a network since 2009. And so you see that there is over 30 places where they have storytelling cafes. And this network meets once every year. And there they come together to exchange what's going on, to report about initiatives they have in their villages. And the last meeting was in the beginning of April. And it turned out that this network kind of needs some fresh wind, we say in Germany. And as I was already mingling with this association, and they were very much interested in storytelling and storytelling techniques, we had the idea to make workshop offers on a regular basis to provide a space for those organizers of storytelling cafes to come together to further develop their methodology. I'm not sure in how far you're familiar with this concept of storytelling cafes. That is a clearly defined methodology that has defined steps, that includes always a speaker, a storyteller, who is of course not a professional but has some story to tell. There will be interviews in advance. During the event, the storyteller will tell their stories together with a moderator, and then the audience is going to contribute, to ask questions. But it is, there is, for many of these organizers, there is some frustration with this methodology because they feel they want more interaction, they want to address other people maybe, or they have problems finding good topics that actually mobilize people to come to these storytelling cafes. So during this network meeting, it turned out that there is a variety of difficulties that people struggle with in their villages, and that there is quite a demand and a wish for having more connections, more exchange, more inspiration. And so we started this workshop initiative. We'll have the first event next week, where people who organize storytelling cafes can come together and, with the help of storytelling techniques and methods, we're going to work out new approaches for their storytelling cafes in the region. And so this is there will be 3 monthly events. So the next one will be then in September and another one in November. Those are already all planned and announced. So people have really space to come together to also find collaborations or people who work on the same strength, and then to exchange, and the moderation is done between somebody who's also very fond of storytelling, teacher, she's now retired, and myself. And the concept will be to start with a story of change. To transport this message that things can be very different depending on which perspective you take. And And then we'll have them develop the story of their storytelling cafe the way they wish it to be. And after telling these stories to each other, either in the plenary or in small groups, that depends on how many participants will be there, we can quite distinctly come to points that already solutions are foreseen in the stories, for example. Then we can very concretely talk about what could be done, how would it be doing things like this or like that. So this is enough, I think, for now to tell you about what's going on in Germany. And of course, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Julia. Interesting to make stories of the storytelling cafes. I think it's a good idea, and I think I know in our region, Västerbotten, we also describe ourselves as the regional storytelling, and we have talked a lot about creating our own story about the storytelling region. So I think it's a good thing. So you meet these 30 storytelling places, or 30 storytelling cafes. They come together and you try to develop the methodology, you can say. Very good. Any other questions to Julia?
Do you also help them to run the cafe, I mean, structural things, logistic stuff, how to reach more people, and so on? Is that also part of the training, let's say?
Well, of course, at first we don't really know which problems they're mainly women would like to work on. But the idea is to create collaboration also, that it's not necessarily the moderator's tasks, but to also maybe form new teams. Because in some villages it's only single persons who organize everything and who are kind of tired of that. And so the idea is to have a platform where people can meet, can exchange, but also can collaborate with each other in organizing their storytelling. And of course, we are also part of the network, so we're there to support them too, with whatever issues they may have. But first, during the workshops, the idea is to develop the concepts and to then see how they can be implemented.
Yeah.
To just the idea is to have more fun, to have some fresh wind, some kind of innovation in an initiative that is already running since 7 years, and where we feel and the organizers feel that it has become a bit sleepy and not very vivid, and so it's kind of a revitalization approach.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Julia. So then perhaps we can listen to you, Andrew, and from a pilot in Poland in Bielsko-Biała.
Yes, hello. My name's Andrew. I work at Grodzki Theatre in Bielsko-Biała in Poland. It's in the south of Poland near the mountains, and it has an interesting mix because it's a city, but it's quite near some isolated mountain communities, so we get some interesting opportunities to work with different cultures and social spheres. The project that we did, if I can get it to show on this, I think it's that.
It's in the middle at the bottom. Yeah, you got it.
There we go. Okay. So the project that we did was focused actually on mothers on maternity leave. So what we decided to do was bring in a storyteller, a woman, Beata Frankowska, and we were hoping that we could simply work on the ability for mothers who are on maternity leave to really understand their own situation and deal with any difficulties that might have arisen unexpectedly, basically. Poland, of course, has a very strong family tradition, but that changed quite interestingly with the long-term socialism of the last century, and is now changing again with the very distinct change in the nature of the workforce in Poland. So mothers are encountering new things that even sometimes their own mothers can't help them with because things were so different only 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So one of the things that's been quite distinctly different is the question of breastfeeding, which is, of course, quite a personal thing. And so it's often something that's not really discussed. It's not necessarily particularly prominent in the media at the moment. And that was one of a number of quite personal topics that was discussed. Now, some of the other things that they also need are the fact that they're on maternity leave means that, of course, they have less money. It means that they have seemingly more time, and yet actually they're so busy with their new babies that, of course, they have no time whatsoever. They have to deal with the question of whether or not they want to go back to work. There's no obligation in Poland for you to return to work after your maternity leave. So it's up to people to deal with. Are they going to give up their existing careers or go back to it? And of course, there's a lot of other things that are related, things like support from their families and so on. So this kind of issue is not something that's being talked about very much at the moment, but seems to need addressing. Now, I'm actually taking over as coordinator in this project. The original coordinator is actually, I think, as of today, a new mother. Before today, she was an expecting mother. So I think that's actually happening today, or at least she was due today. So, of course, this is a topic that's been quite important for her as well. And there are a number of things that she had in mind as a working, expecting mother, running a project, having to transfer it and coordinate it, bring me up to date, and use the entire team to get things done. So there's a lot of things that were very beneficial for mothers to talk about with each other, rather than necessarily looking to an authority to get some kind of definitive answer or idea about how these things should look, rather simply relating to each other's experiences and that kind of thing. So we felt that the storytelling would be an appropriate way for them to do that. So with that goal in mind, as I said, we got our storyteller to come in, and she used a number of interesting techniques. One of them was to simply use some existing stories that she felt may relate well to the mothers in the groups. And I'll just briefly tell you about one of them. One of them is an old Jewish fable, actually, about... now, I don't know what this is called in English. There's a thing in Jewish tradition which in Polish is named mikvah. I don't know what it is. I mean, in English, I'm afraid. But it's basically a ceremonial washing place. And there are various reasons that various people, especially women in certain circumstances, will need to go and wash themselves in a ritual manner. One of those circumstances is after birth. So this traditional tale of a woman going to ritually bathe after her birth was basically used to set a kind of a stage for women to also relate their own stories and experiences regarding what happened around after the birth of their children and so on. Allowing them to open up to each other and create a bond through the narrative, rather than simply explaining a few facts. You know, the doctor told me that I had to wait 3 weeks or something. There was actually an entire narrative around each person's experience, which created or helped to create at least a bond within the group. There were a number of organizations involved in this, people contributing in many ways, including participants. There was, of course, the Grodzki Theatre, the coordinating body. There's a birth school in Bielsko-Biała. Of course, there are many, but they sort of coordinated and found people who were interested in attending. Interestingly, we had the Business Coaching Club, which was obviously, in terms of expertise, quite focused on the ability for these ladies to return to work, or indeed their obligations while on maternity leave or so on, and a number of other similar associated organizations. And the preparations actually ran from September in 2015. The workshops themselves ran January and February of 2016. And it's our first pilot. So we've been quite happy with the results of that, and hopefully we'll be able to continue with the community in the future.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Interesting also. I think, have you have made some sort of documentation of this pilot as well?
Yes. It was a number of sessions were filmed, although obviously there was some sensitive things that made it quite difficult to actually put together a detailed presentation. Everybody was assured secrecy where they preferred it and so on, confidentiality. We actually have documented the other pilot a lot more. It's about disabled people in the workplace. And most of that information is not confidential or sensitive, so it's been much simpler to document. But this one was also documented, yes.
Okay, any more questions to Andrew?
So what, do you know anything what the mothers felt after finishing this activity? Or
well, I suppose, like with all things in life, there was a range of responses. Many, I believe that generally the feeling was that it was a very helpful thing. I think for many of them, it replaced what we might think of as a traditional circle of friends, where you might have a small community with a number of women roughly of the same age, who are in roughly the same circumstance or about to be. Of course, modern life slightly robs us of that in many cases. You're not always doing exactly the same things as your friends at the same time. And most companies would collapse if everybody suddenly went on maternity leave at the same time. So of course there's no community support there either. So I think for many of them it was a very supportive process. The nature of their continued involvement, of course, also changes because some decided to go back to work, some decided they're not going to go back to work, and they're going various levels of various amounts of free time and that kind of thing in the future. But generally, there was a very positive reaction. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. And then I think we can end up this webinar with the last examples from Sweden. So you can start with your presentations, Rosmarie.
Okay, so Ugo wasn't going to say something, no?
No, we will come back in next webinar and
okay.
More examples of pilots, I think, and then we have one or two from Italy at that occasion.
Yes. Well, this is mine. Let's see if there it is. And just so. Hello, I'm Rosmarie Lindfors and I'm from Skellefteå. I work as a storyteller and as a drama teacher. And in this pilot, I've been working with two different groups, and I'm going to tell about one of them today. We call that group story pilots because the teachers that I was working with, they were saying that they actually felt like a pilot going out for their first flight, and they didn't actually know where they were heading. So, and they have been looking for methods for using when they work at their school, and the school is an adult learning center, and it's called VUX in Sweden. We were doing this pilot between September and December 2015, and I was the trainer. I'm not going to go into what we did. I'm just going to show some just a brief show here what we did. We had storytelling sessions each week. I I was using pictures. So the students could find their own ways of telling. We were using drama to connect the body and to connect the imagination into it. I was always telling a story, and in the end, we focused on the students' own stories and reflections afterwards. This group that we were working with was adults, migrants, and they had been to language school for, I think, 3 years, and this was their way into I can't find, I don't know the word. Sorry?
Into society.
Yeah, into society, and both into studies and into work. Yes. So this is just a picture of what could happen, and some of the students couldn't we couldn't photo them because they were not allowed to be shown in a picture. But what's interesting is, because me and the teachers, we were planning this together, and we were both planning it and doing it together. And this group, it was students around, I think there were around 12, 15 persons each time. It was the same group. And when we had, after we had finished this pilot, we were asking them questions about what they brought with them. And this is what the results that they said that they brought with them. Can you see everything?
Yes.
Yeah. Because they were saying that they now felt so proud of themselves that they actually had told their own story. Many of them said that they didn't feel shy anymore. Shyness was really something that many of them had said before, no, I won't because I'm so shy. They felt more secure in society. They were able to speak to people, to connect to new people. We were using models, techniques, and they felt that was very, very good because they could use them. There was very much laughter, and they were saying that was so refreshing, that they felt so free. Yeah, and it was easier to speak when they were laughing and when they were feeling free. They liked that they could tell from their own experience, because one of the men said, this have made me realize that I actually know a lot. And he said that before, when they were using more, textbooks, and he said, I didn't think I knew anything at all. So they liked the circle, sitting in a circle, and they said that it was nice to feel visible to each other. And one of them said, I can be the one I want to be. And then she said, you know, to be or not to be. So, yeah, you can see there from improvisation, I can find out what I can say. And that was a woman who said that she had actually, before, she had always thought, you know, kind of, when she was saying something, she was always going through her mother tongue first. So she was kind of translating. But she says, now I don't need it, because I actually feel so free to just use the new language. The pictures gave me imagination and brings out stories, said one of them. And imagination gives me new pictures. Yeah, I know who is in my class. Now I got new friends, and they felt that they had got a tool to train their memory, and I developed courage to communicate with new people, they said. So this is just a, you know, we have so many thoughts from these people, but I just chose this to show you. So the results that we have seen was that storytelling made a kind of bridge building effects, and these are the 4 that I would like to speak about. And it's because the students said that within the group, and they really learned to know each other, and they got new friends. From each person, they said it was much easier to get into society, and many of them have now, they have work, they have taken driver's license, I met one of the women last week, no, not last, 2 weeks ago, and she had taken off her hijab. Yeah, because she said, I don't need it, she said. So she took it off. Yeah. The teachers, they have built a bridge now, you know, from working on their own. They have connected the whole school, and during August we are going to have a big seminar with all teachers involved, and they are making a room for storytelling, and they are making a room for painting, for dancing, for singing. So and that's really a nice bridge. And I have also worked in this group with these books. Can you see it? Can you see them? It's there are many of these books who are called silent books, and we use them in the sessions. They are books with pictures, the stories, but they are without text. And it's novels, or books without text. And that has really got to be something. So the school will use these as books now, you know. learning Swedish books. And I also wrote a handbook called Silent Books, a handbook how to use it, and this will be translated soon into English. And this is actually coming from Lampedusa in Italy. Started there and has gone through Europe, Canada, and now had ended up in Sweden, and it's probably going further also. So that's our bridges. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Rose-Marie. Can you put away the screen so we can see you again?
There.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions to Rose-Marie?
So was it intentional you created the books? That was when you started the project, you really wanted to have these books? Was that
No, it's actually something that happened. Yeah, because we were working with these books in the group, and then I was from IBI, IBI International. They were contacting me because they had heard that I worked with these books, and they asked if I could write this handbook. So then I could use what we have learned from the pilot in this book.
So that's a coincidence that two different
that was
very good.
Yes.
And also, I shall just comment that we have already have what we call a national training day, where we have met a lot of stakeholders in a seminar that we had in April, and then Rose-Marie made a presentation of this pilot and also the other pilot, and we all had the opportunity to listen to the students and listen to the teachers and also to the headmasters in about their opinions of the project. And we haven't made any nice videos like in Belgium, for instance, but we had the whole session, the whole seminar was filmed, and we have made a short version of it in 5 minutes or something like that. And I think even if it's not a good video, I think it could be useful to translate it so we can use it in this project as well. But it was very nice to hear the headmaster and the teacher saying that this was not a pilot, this was just the beginning of something.
Yeah. I have to say, yesterday there was a kind of evening conference on heritage, and so there were examples of how to work with heritage interpretation, how to have what is called a multi-perspective on heritage, and practically all the examples that were shown in the workshop used storytelling. It was really, really nice to see. So they worked also with immigrants. They brought them into a museum, for instance, with paintings, and they had some exercises on paintings first, perhaps on vocabulary, and then they used a number of storytelling techniques, and all of them had it. It was really very nice to see. I talked about the project, about StoryRegions project, but some of them were really good examples that could have gone into the manual even. And it was really a nice, because they were all heritage people, so we're talking about museums and about abbeys, castles, and so on, and storytelling was a big issue that yesterday.
Nice to hear. We're doing the right thing then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you very much everyone for your contribution. I think we can end up this webinar now, and then we will join together in a third webinar later after this summer. So thank you very much everyone for your participation. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anders. Bye bye.
Bye.